Peter Ustinov, in his own words. Frost over America. BBC Television, 1st of July, 1970.
You've played a lot of generals in your time, one way and another. Are you fascinated?
I've never stopped having my revenge for the war, really. I was a private for 4.5 years, and I'm still taking my revenge on the general.
What attributed to your incredible record of consistency in remaining a private for 4.5 years?
I think the conviction that if they'd listened to me, the whole thing would have been over some years before.
By what means?
By means of strategy, you know, and tactics of a higher order than the one was actually used.
You said it was rather like being in a prison, being in the Royal Sussex Regiment.
Well, it wasn't really like being in a prison. It was like going back to school again after the school-leaving age. And performing. Of course, those days were very, very different to what it's become now.
You said you were once tempted by politics, were you?
Well, I think anybody that likes to talk on occasion is. I'm sure you were too. I have that feeling. But then I think that it would be a wrong thing to do, because I think people like you and I have very, very important duties, simply because we have perhaps more freedom than most people. We have more freedom than politicians. We don't have to convince anybody. We don't have to kiss anybody's babies that we don't want to kiss. We don't have to dress up as miners in mining communities or pretend to play the ukulele in the South. We can be absolutely free, and we can say more or less what we think. Once you have that capacity of saying what you think, you've got to think what you think. And that's an enormous responsibility, because you can quite easily go haywire with that. But I think that liberty has to... I wouldn't like to forego it.
You spoke earlier on just now about doubt being important. Another phrase that's very important to a lot of people that they would think conflicted with doubt is the phrase peace of mind. Do you have peace of mind? Would you want peace of mind?
Yeah, but I think doubt is an enormously important ingredient even in peace of mind. You've got to learn to live with it. It's when people talk about insecurity all the time. I wouldn't know how to live without insecurity, personally. I think security is absolute death.
Really?
Think it over.
Do you feel peace in the world as a whole is near or far? Further? Nearer?
I don't know. I mean, I think there are so many popular manifestations now. I happen to be the rector of a university, and I think many young people are trying to maintain the lifeline between humanity and man, and I think they're doing exactly the right thing. I say that as a very much older man.
You once said, we're all on this earth to experience a great adventure, you said.
Well, yes.
How would you summarize what your great adventure's been?
Well, my great adventure is simply that I believe that education doesn't end when you leave school. I wouldn't be where I am now if I wasn't learning more every day than I learned at school. And I believe that we are, if you want me to be serious for the final moment, I think that we are united by our doubts and divided by our convictions. I think doubts are the most important thing in the world. I never like shutting a window onto any possibility, and therefore I mistrust people who have.
You once said, beware the middle-aged, beware experts, and beware politicians.
Oh, well, that I'm absolutely sure of, yes.
Beware the middle-aged.
Because they're further from the mysteries of birth and death than children or old people.
Beware the experts.
Oh, because they know the subject so well, they don't know it at all. They no longer see it in its context.
And beware politicians.
Oh, that's because people who reach the top of the tree are only those that haven't got the qualifications to detain them at the bottom.
Parkinson. BBC Television, 16th of December, 1972.
I know you're a musical fellow, Peter, but do you play jazz piano like that?
No, I can't really follow a musical score for a piano. There are too many notes. But I used to play the flute once.
Really?
But once I mastered the instrument, it began to get on my nerves.
What kind of music do you like best of all?
I'm afraid I like classical music best of all, and I feel very square saying that.
I was going to ask you, though, about this recurring character that you have.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?